Hey, non-football question, a little offbeat.
Right.
You guys, the decision to go with music all practice, that's a big change. How did that kind of come down?
I just forgot to have them turn it off, to be honest with you. You know, what they did was they moved it so far away from me so I don't turn around and yell and expect somebody to turn it off. And that's why we practice on the far field, just because it's not as bad down there.
Is that something the guys like to kind of?
Well, you know, and I will say this, though, in all honesty, if we can't handle that, and we can't handle when people come out to watch practice, how are we going to handle 75,000 screaming fans at B of A Stadium? So it doesn't, I mean, I'm not worried about it. I'm not thinking about it, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I didn't know if it was more like, hey, here's kind of a perk for the players. We're going to play music all practice.
It probably is,
yeah.
but I didn't, that's not why it's done. I just, like I said, I just forgot to have them turn it off. And because I'm not, like I said, I'm so far away from the speakers, I don't realize it.
I'm not sure, I'm sorry if you already answered this, but what happened with Chris Mann?
Sore foot. They just wanted to take him in precautionary and get an x-ray and make sure everything's okay. So hopefully we'll keep our fingers crossed.
And Curtis indicated that today was more precautionary.
More of a rest day.
Workload yesterday.
Yep, he had a good workload yesterday, a lot of good things. Looked really good out there too, but you know, we don't want to, you know, go 2 days in a row with that much intensity. So hopefully we'll have him back out tomorrow if he feels good.
What's the responsibility that West Fortin's going to have to shoulder this year?
Well, I think the thing that he's going to have to continue to do is be a utility guy for us. I think, again, you know, when a guy like Charles Johnson is retiring, I think the thing that you have to have is you've got to have somebody that can replace that kind of ability, and I think he'll do a good job for us.
Looked like Devin had some leg cramps.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he cramped up, and so they tried to get some Gatorade in him quickly.
How about Lorenzo? What have you seen from him?
Lorenzo Doss has been interesting. You know, he's a guy that's been in the league a couple of years and trying to find a home, and he just seems to improve every day. But you know, right now it's one of those things where there's no consequences, so you can play, kind of cut it loose. And what will be interesting to see is if he can maintain that once the pads come on and the consequences increase. You know, in terms of, you know, when you get burned, and it's a big deal. And when you don't right now, it's like I said, there really isn't a lot of consequences, so you can gamble.
What's it do, though, when he's coming out here making plays like that? Defense is pretty fired up.
Well, it builds confidence. It does, you know, and for us as coaches, it gets our attention. You know, we kind of look and say, okay, who's that again? Oh, it's Doss again. Okay. So you pay attention to things like that. And for the individual, it most certainly does build confidence. And that's what we're really trying to do right now is build confidence in a lot of these young guys, new players that are trying to get, you know, kind of used to what we do and how we do it.
Ron, a guy we really hadn't asked much about, but see him out here rehabbing every day. What's going on with Fred Ross? Fred Ross
is, you know, he had off-season surgery, and so he's just kind of rehabbing, and hopefully things continue to go well. I mean, he's a guy that showed some promise earlier in training camp last year, got hurt, and you know, had surgery, and so we've had to rehab him, and hopefully, you know, when we get to training camp, he'll be ready to roll. I mean, he's a guy that had a tremendous college career, came in as a, you know, as a priority free agent for us, a guy we obviously spent a little bit of money on trying to see. And unfortunately, he's been hurt.
Was that a knee or an ankle? Or something else?
It was something else.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. But, you know, it was serious enough that he had to have surgery.
We didn't get to see Julius out here today either. I assume he's
no, he's here. Julius was here today, came in, they kept him inside, and I believe he ran inside on the treadmills or on the water treadmill. But he's here. Just so you know, Mike Adams was excused today. He had a family business to take care of, nothing bad, everything was positive.
When you see what's happening with like Julio holding out and then kind of different stuff up in New England with Brady, how nice is it to, you guys seem to have everyone here accounted for?
For the most part, it is nice to have everybody accounted for. I mean, those are tough situations because, you know, there's some of the elite players that really, I guess at some point need to, you know, feel they believe that they should be paid. And probably in some cases deservedly so. I mean, they're great players. They, you know, their teams count on them so much, and that's kind of what's happened right now with the way the structure, you know, the salary structures are set up. It's tough because you can't pay everybody, and you have to, you know, you have to be able to field quality teams, and that's a hard situation to be in. And you know, I feel for, you know, those guys that really, you know, are some of the elite players in this league because it's a tough situation, and that's what happens with the cap.
Coach, how's Don Terry fitting into that D-line?
Fitting very well. I mean, it's a very snug fit. You guys got it. I'm glad you guys got it. I'm glad somebody got it. But he's done a great job. He really has. He's an interesting guy, very bright, very intelligent guy. He's picked up the defense very well. He meshes very nicely with everybody, and you see why he was a first-round draft pick. And so far he's a guy that I think can come in and really help us and be a big part of what we want to do on the defense.
Ron, what are the dangers with this kind of month break coming up before training camp for these young guys? Because you're probably going to be counting on some of these rookies.
Right, most certainly, and again, it's what I talked about this minicamp being really, or this OTAs and minicamp really being about, and that's learning and then retention. And the hard part will be when those guys go away and get away from it. Hopefully they took good notes. Hopefully they're going to look at their notes that they took home with them and try to study up and practice. And the other thing too is the conditioning. I mean, you want guys to come to training camp in condition because it prevents guys from getting hurt, first of all. And then secondly, when a guy's out of shape, he comes to camp. Now he's got to get into shape, and he gets tired faster and he becomes mentally tired faster. So you really want these guys to have it twofold: come in and be in condition and ready to practice, and be mentally prepared to practice.
We didn't ask you much about Cam during this mini camp.
That's a good thing.
It is interesting.
Good thing.
So, but what about him that you've seen out here that's maybe compared to other camps?
Well, first of all, he's here, out here practicing. That's key right now. Secondly, you've seen the growth and development, the maturation. I think the different set of eyes and different voices has been really good for him. I think that's helped a lot. And he's really grasped it, and he really has. And he's assuming an even more and more of a leadership role, which is a huge plus. Because again, he's your quarterback, and you want him out, you want him doing those things, and you do see it. Some of his techniques, some of his own mechanics have sped up, have gotten better. And again, I just really excited about it because it's shown so much growth that we need to see him make.
Any specific mechanics you're talking about that you've liked the progression of?
Yeah, pretty much what you guys always write about, but his footwork has really gotten better. And you see it. He has sped up an awful lot. And I think that's one of the things that's really helped him, and hopefully it'll continue. And again, it'll be one of the things that we want to see when he comes back to training camp, that he had an opportunity to work on those things too.
You mentioned the new voices. How have you seen his relationship with Norv kind of get started and build throughout these last few weeks?
Well, as I said earlier, when I say earlier, I'm talking about 2 months ago. It's a little apprehensive, he was kind of nervous about it, and you see him starting to get more and more comfortable, more and more relaxed. It's kind of neat that after every play, he's turning and looking for the feedback. Norv is constantly in his ear, Scotty's constantly in his ear, and then you see him in the meeting rooms. How he's constantly gravitating to those guys and asking questions and talking about things, and that's been one of the huge pluses I think that's really helped us.
Terry's listed at 346.
That's about right.
Has he been on good on his weight goals?
He's been very good in his weight goal. In fact, he's probably less than that right now, and which is great. I mean, the guy works very hard. He's a professional, and and I really do believe he'll come in and be ready to roll.
Coach, have you noticed the attitude change in captain?
Yes, I really have, and he's done a great job. It's been exciting watching him, the way he's prepared, the way he's practicing, and quite honestly, the elderly statesman that he's become in dealing with these young players and helping them. That's been really cool. One of the cool things about it, you see his growth.
What's it like having Coach King on your staff?
It's been really cool. It really has. I think Jennifer's done a heck of a job for us and just come in and learned. It's kind of a tough situation because having a new coach come in and then the realization that we could have done things to help her a little bit sooner, and that is bring her in the offseason a little bit more and let her get involved. But having her since we started the phase 3 of OTAs has been really, I think, a nice thing. I think one of the things that the unintended consequence that when there is a woman coach around, the volume kind of settles down a little bit faster than when I'm yelling, which is kind of a neat thing. And I think it's been good. I think kind of it's one of the things that is kind of trending in the NFL, and that is the women are most certainly involved, and they deserve the opportunity. So I think this has been a good program so far. We'll see how it goes in the future.
Ron, of course, Stephanie was former coach. Could you ever see a day? Has Courtney showed any interest?
No, but I do think that there is going to be a day, because I think there are a lot of qualified women. I've been involved with the program for going on 3 seasons now, and the people up at the NFL, particularly Sam Rappaport, she's really been pushing this. And it's been very integral. I've spoken at the symposiums that they've had in February, and then we had one at the owners' meetings at one point too. It's headed in that direction, because you do find that there are a lot of qualified women that understand the game, that are currently coaching the game, quite honestly too. And it's just a matter of time.
What was it about her when you met her that made you want to bring her in and let her come in?
I met her a couple years ago at one of the first symposiums, and then saw her again last time. And just listened to her interest in the game, and I thought, wow, it's cool. And then what made it even simpler was that she's right across the street. I mean, she's over here at Johnson Wales, so it was very beneficial for both parties. And you know, whether it helps her in her football coaching career, or quite honestly, it helps her in her college basketball coaching career. You know, she's the head coach over there, the women's basketball program, won a national championship in their division too. I know that. But I just think that this is something that could be good for her as she goes forward as well, because it's very good for us.
We talk a lot about it being important that the game expands in this way. Why?
Well, because I think part of it is it's all about the fan base. And I think it's also about you know, knowing that the moms out there understand the game, that again, it's important because they really do control our decisions to make as to whether or not their kids are going to play. And I think this is something that has to be developed. I think it helps us in a lot of ways, but I also think that it just also shows that, you know, that everybody deserves an opportunity.
But DJ Moore doesn't seem to lack in confidence. Can you talk about what kind of confidence and swagger you observe for him?
Quiet confidence and a little bit of swagger. I mean, he's done a great job. He's come in, he's learned, he's asked the right kind of questions, he's listened, he has assumed nothing. And he's humble. That's the other thing too. I think he's a very humble guy. I don't think everybody realizes, you know, that this kid is. I think this young man has an opportunity. I think to do some things early in his career, a lot like a lot of the first rounders we've had. You know, we expect him to come in and be part of what we do.
You expect him to get signed before y'all break?
I have no idea. I'll be honest with you on it, Joe. I mean, I didn't realize he wasn't signed until I think there was something in the paper the other day about it. So yeah, I do.